We're here on the beautiful grounds of the Ironstone Vineyard in Murphys, California for the 26th annual Ironstone Concours d'Elegance. I am your host, Chris Stevenson. Today we look at exotic and innovative and beautiful automobiles from around the world, many that are priceless, some not so much. And it's all a fundraiser from the Kautz family, Gail Kautz, the Ironstone Foundation, to benefit 4-H and FFA. So let's take a look. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Gail Kautz, and this is her baby. Can you believe this is 26th version of the Ironstone Concours d'Elegance?
No, I cannot believe that. It goes by so fast. I'm saying, what happened?
Yes. Is it going to be a particularly good year? Because I know the weather is cooperating.
Well, I am very thrilled the weatherman is cooperating. 4 days ago, I think Murphy's had 1.5 inches of rain. I'm very glad that's not happening now. We only have had one concourse in the 26 years that it's poured on, and we went ahead and did it anyway.
Okay. I want to stop you when I noticed that you pronounced it concourse, but it's French, isn't it? And we make that mistake as Americans. Is it a mistake to call it concourse, or should it be Concours d'Elegance?
It should very definitely be Concours d'Elegance.
Well, we all goof it up, don't we?
You cheated. You've been in France.
I did. I just came back from a trip from France. I really love the layout of the Ironstone grounds because it's country out here. This used to be a cattle ranch, didn't it?
This was an early cattle ranch, and I know I spent many years here as a kid riding my horse across this particular ranch. This was owned by a historic Calaveras County family, the Garland family. And eventually we built the winery here. We've been grape growers forever and ever down in the Lodi area. And we eventually decided to build a winery up here. And then we decided to do events. And I had been head of the California 4-H Foundation, and I wanted to do something different to raise money. Got the idea of a car show, not concours. And anyway, we built the stage to accommodate this, the car show, so the winners can drive across the stage.
Mm-hmm. And not only are there cars, but there are other categories as well, motorcycles and trailers, and are there new things that come along each year, or do we kind of stick with the plan?
No, we try to turn it over and do some new things each year. We have the motorcycles, as you say, and we have the trailers. And the first time the trailers showed up, a lady came up to me and she said, "Hi, we're here. We're the trailer trash." So we lovingly still call them the trailer trash. But people really enjoy seeing them. In the past, we have had boats. We only had one boat, and it wasn't here this year. And we have had the Amphicar.
I love the Amphicar.
That is a scary feeling because all your life when you're driving, you say, "I'm not going into the lake." And then you get in a car and you drive in the lake and it floats, which is a huge relief.
Yes. And it's all to benefit one of your very favorite charities.
It is to benefit a couple of my favorite charities. Primarily youth in agriculture, and that is 4-H and FFA, but we also give scholarships and do things to encourage young people to be active in agriculture.
Do you see, Gail, that you have a bee that's flying around you?
Well, he doesn't like me, and I don't like him either.
Go away. Well, I hope you don't get any bee stings. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for inviting all of us to the 26th Ironstone Concours d'Elegance.
Well, thank you for coming, and come back to the 27th next year, 4th Saturday in September.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gail. I'm here with Jim Sinclair from Placerville, and you've been coming to the Ironstone Concours d'Elegance for how many years?
25.
And you missed one? How did that
first.
happen? Oh, I see. They couldn't live without you, so
Right,
they brought you
yes.
in, and you've been here ever since. And now you are the chief judge for
Yes.
the Concours.
Yes.
Now, what does that entail?
I'm responsible for getting the judges to sign up to come here and work and do their judging, and then judging and tallying all the results and producing the list of results that the person who does the announcing from the stage announces all the winners.
Now, there are multiple judges for each category, and there are a lot of categories, so that means it's a big responsibility to find a lot of judges that are qualified.
Yes, we're handing out 35 first place trophies
Wow.
today,
And a best in show?
and a best in show and best open and classic and best closed classic, and a couple of other special awards.
Do you have any great memories? Because you've been here for the whole history of the Concours. Something really special that's happened?
Well, as an example, the first year there were 34 cars entered.
Which is a minuscule amount compared to what we have now.
Right, we have about 310 entries today,
Wow.
and we've had as much as just over 400, and that was so much it clogged the field, and we try to keep it down from that. But yes,
Now,
we always
I
have
understand
a good turnout.
the Ironstone Concours d'Elegance has like a casualness about it that you take into consideration when judging. You're not judging down to each bolt and the color of the bolt, right?
Right. We leave that judging of every nut and bolt and correctness of the car to the individual makes, clubs and Pebble Beach Concours and things like that. We tried to keep this a casual, fun Concours, so there isn't the pressure of trying to clean the underside of your car with Q-tips and toothbrushes, and make it much more casual and fun. And it's been successful. People love it.
I have to agree. Everyone I've spoken to loves coming to Ironstone for this event. And the philosophy for judging seems to be the overall elegance of the car, and thus the name.
Yes, the original Concours d'Elegances that started in the late 1920s and early 1930s in Europe were just a gathering at a park of the people that had elegant cars of the era. And so it's similar to that type of judging where you look at the car and make sure the paint is correct and good and all it's correct car, but it's correct, not wrong wheels on it and things like that. And then the elegance of that car in its class.
Is it difficult to come to a consensus on best in show?
Oh, usually, yes. That's usually a problem.
Does the final determination come down to you as head judge?
Not necessarily. I have a committee of very senior Concours d'Elegance people that have been doing this for a lot of years, as have I, and we have a little committee meeting and sometimes walk out on the field and take another look at the cars and do things to come up with a list of winners.
Well, I don't envy you your task because I've walked around and I could not pick out a best in show from today. They're just all so special.
Yes, it's a tough job, but we tend to do it.
Yes. Am I keeping you from your task right now? You got to get back to it?
I have some very good helpers that are in there doing their job now.
I see. Well,
it's
regardless, I thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, go get them.
Pleasure.
I have a Triumph motorcycle, and I've always wanted a Triumph car, and this is what this is. This is a 1964 Triumph Spitfire.
It is.
And I'm here with Michael John from Danville. Tell me a little bit.
This is a 1964 Triumph Spitfire in race condition from 1978. So the specifications here, Sports Car Club of America, ran in G production 1978. So everything that's on here was to the specifications for 1978.
So you built this car originally.
Did.
And then what happened? This is interesting.
We sold it in 1979.
And then?
10 years ago, my brother tracked it down. It was in a storage container in Richmond, California. We bought it back, and I spent last year restoring it.
What kind of condition was it in when you got it back?
It was rough, a little rough.
rough.
Different paint job. It had been sitting in a storage container for about 20 years, so it needed work.
The restoration looks beautiful.
Thank you.
The color scheme is great. Your engine is immaculate. How's the seat feel?
It is, believe it or not, without upholstery, it still is the most comfortable seat I've ever had.
And you're racing it now?
I am. I'm racing next weekend in Sonoma at the Charity Challenge.
Excellent. What's top speed on a vehicle like this?
100 miles an hour, probably.
Yeah, but it's built to corner.
It is built to corner.
Yeah.
That's what these are made for.
This is your first time to the Concours d'Elegance?
It is.
All
First
right.
time to any Concours d'Elegance.
Oh, well, welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you have a great time.
Likewise.
It's very casual here, isn't it?
It is. It feels great.
All right.
Too many cars to look at. Not enough time, I'm sure.
Well, I wish you luck, Michael.
All right. Thank you so much.
This is a first. I've never done this before. I don't know where to begin with this, except maybe I ought to get down. No, I can stand on that thing. Thank you, Chris. This is Chris Overzette. He's from Brentwood, and this is his. This is a car, right?
Yeah, she's named Buttercup. It's a 75 Lincoln.
And it's part of the 24 Hours of Lemons.
Yep.
You got to tell me about that.
It's a series where you get a $500 race car and you cage it and go around in circles.
It is a race car. There's a race car seat.
And
It's got roll bars.
We have the most drivers for any race series in the United States right now.
All right. Explain the whole concept of 24 Hours of Lemons.
So basically, it's like at the race, you have to have a theme or have something exciting, so you can't just show up in a BMW.
You got an interesting theme there, my friend.
So this one actually has a mannequin on the top, and we call it the Phony Express. But it's also called Buttercup. So in the race, we change drivers every half an hour or so, and then we go out and we race up to 24 hours sometimes, and then some days it's 7 hours a day. And then within that time, as you're racing, if you do something wrong, the judges will make you do a scavenger hunt of random things like, oh, what year's your car? 75? Go find us every coin you can from 1975. And they'll make you go around the paddock till you find all those coins. And then when you get back, then they let you go back out in your race car.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Dude, this is amazing. How did you come up with this idea?
Another team built this, so I don't have the glory of that. And they just didn't want, I had a limo that I raced that looked like the Titanic. And I raced against this one and then beat them. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, he goes, hey, you want Buttercup? And I'm like, sure, I'll take it. So then I brought it home and then started going to Cars and Coffee with it and just trashing up every place I go to depreciate the value of everybody else's stuff. Because this is like a free car.
Are you married?
Yeah.
Still married even after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She still loves me.
That's amazing.
So,
well, no, I make fun of you, but truly, I love it.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley where it's just ridiculous.
It's just fun. It's like the biggest thing that I like is I like letting the kids get in the car. I let the kids climb in the car and then touch the cars, because these right here are the only two cars that any kids can touch in this whole place.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I wish you luck in the next race.
Oh, yeah.
When is the next race?
December 3rd up in Sonoma. So
Got it.
the biggest thing is just finishing. That's all we care about. So we never want to win.
And
so.
and finishing is, it's not a given.
Yeah, not always. No.
Thank you, Chris. This is a 1940 Buick, and this is my new friend, Henry Hopkins from Richmond. And you've relatively recently acquired this car, right?
I've had it about 5 years after hunting for a long time. It's a rare car. It was the first year that Buick produced a Woody from the factory. Prior to that, they would ship them to the dealers, and the dealer would farm it out to a local wood worker. And the story was that out in Hollywood, one GM executive was visiting, and the woman said, well, gee, I'd really love to have a Buick, but you don't make a Woody wagon. And so they made a Woody wagon.
That's
in
all it takes?
1940. That was it, yeah.
That's amazing.
I forget who it was, some director's wife.
Yep.
And they used, it was the Walker Manufacturing Company for just 1 year, and then after that, from 41 to 53, they used the Ionia manufacturing, which was pretty posh.
What was the condition of the car when you got it?
It was as you see it, except the wood was not shiny. It was sort of flat looking and darker.
Because this car had been, it lived in Martha's Vineyard for many years.
Yeah.
In the Saltaire and such.
Well, the story was he saw it at Hershey in the 80s, and then it popped up again, and he finally bought it. And basically drive it occasionally, but mostly was in storage. And we negotiated quite a bit, and then we gave up, and it was on eBay, and I got it for the price that I wanted.
Well,
he wasn't happy, but I did.
That's good for you. But you told me that there's a reason you wanted this particular type car.
One of my favorite movies. I'm a Betty Davis movie fan from back in Warner Brothers heyday. She drove a Woody wagon like this on a camping trip. In the middle of the movie, a very long segment, she went camping with this little teenage daughter of the man she was having an affair with. We didn't say about those days, but that's what was going on. And it was a wonderful thing, and I'd never seen one. I just kept looking and looking and looking. The original one that they gave to Betty Davis after the movie is owned by a man named Bulgari. He has a huge museum of collector cars in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and it is this color.
Wow.
This seems to be the go-to color. I haven't seen any other color in these Woodies.
It's interesting to me, when I look at the car, I don't even see the color of the paint. All I see is the wood.
Yeah.
I love the wood.
Well, as I say, the wood needed to be done, and so I had a man do it this winter.
It's beautiful. Well, and you won the Award of Merit for these Woodies.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I was so pleased. It's very nice to be recognized because it's not a show car. It's just a driver, and I enjoy it.
Thank you, Henry.
And thank you so much. I hope you can use some of that.
Yes. Warren Martin from Stockton. This is your car. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that is my car, and I drove it up here from Stockton.
It's a 1951
Lincoln Cosmopolitan.
Durham sedan.
And it's a Durham sedan.
You got to get the whole name in there.
Okay. And the Durham sedan means that it's a conversion from an ordinary Cosmopolitan. You can see that it has a different roof. It has different windows. And it was a car that was commissioned by its original owner to be converted by the Durham Body Company in Pennsylvania.
I like how in 1951 still they understood the aerodynamics and they made it really slippery in the wind. It's got beautiful lines, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And beautiful white walls too.
And and I think the white walls make it go faster, and I'm not too sure about the beautiful lines, but the beautiful lines make it for a good-looking car.
You drove it here from Stockton. How did it drive?
And the car drives really well. And I want to tell you why I drove it. Is that my granddaddy bought a similar 1951 Cosmopolitan in Albany, Oregon, in 1951 when I was 12 years old. He drove it to our house, and he let me drive it.
At 12?
At 12 years old. So the first time I had ever driven a car with an automatic transmission, and so after having had that experience with my granddaddy's car, I wanted my own.
Well, I really like it. Yes. And if you want to sell it, I know a guy.
Well, there's somebody
don't tell
right
my
here.
wife.
Somebody right here who might want it. Okay.
Might want it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All
I
right.
appreciate that, Warren.
Great.
I'm here with Wade Travis from Sonora, another local guy, and he has this 1956. Tell me, what is this car?
It's a 56 Fairlane, four-door version.
It's beautiful. And I notice you have the tray here that's reminiscent of American Graffiti.
Yes, everybody that's my age remembers driving up to the drive-in, having somebody come out on roller skates and bring you your food. So
Those were the days, man.
Those were the days.
In my small town in Florida, it was the Sugar Top Drive-In. Is there something still like this anywhere near Sonora?
No, sadly, but we keep hoping.
Yeah. You told me you use this as your daily driver.
Yes, this is my daily driver.
You get a bunch of looks, I'm sure.
Yeah, they pretty much know me where I work, so.
Yeah. Did you restore this car in any way?
We've had to do some damage repair, and for the most part, everybody that's owned it before me took great care of it, so it's mostly original, other than it had a little bit of rust that we had to repair at the bottom, stuff like that, but the interior was done the way it is now, which is basically original except for the seats.
I really love the tray. How did you find this? You get this on eBay or something?
I got it online, and I had to keep looking because, like your Coca-Cola here, that's the original old look. The younger, too many of them don't look quite right. So.
And you also have old travel maps that we used to get from the gas stations.
Yes.
You put them on the front seat. Nice touch.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, if you looked in the ashtray, you'd find old coins too.
But no ashes.
No ashes, just really old coins. Everything that's around this age, 56 or or
Well,
so.
it's a beautiful specimen, and thanks for showing it to us.
Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate being here.
Okay. Hi, I'm here with some race cars, and this is a particularly interesting one. I'm here with Dick DeLuna, who's from Woodside.
Right.
Yes, and this is a 1912 Franklin with a very interesting provenance. Tell me a little bit about this car.
Well, the car it was like all speedsters during those days were made from regular road cars, and this was called a Torpedo Franklin, and it had a top to it, it had a windshield, it had fenders, and all the good stuff. What made it different was it had the most powerful engine that Franklin made, and Franklins were all air-cooled. And there was a Franklin dealer in Los Angeles, Alan Hammond, who liked to go out and tear them apart and race them. And there was a very important race that went from Los Angeles to Phoenix. And he entered 3 years in a row, didn't win, would place, but that was about it.
And about what year was that?
This was starting out in 1910, 11, and he got it in 1912. He entered a car like this one and ran the race and set a record of 18 hours and 20 minutes, where now it takes 3 hours to get there.
Yes, from Los Angeles to Phoenix.
From Los Angeles to Phoenix. And of course, there was no roads. Everything was dirt. They were going through rivers and everything else. And the original car burnt up in 1932. So this car was brought back from the original frame is on here, but most of the other parts had to be redone from Franklin's. So everything matches. It's original block from the car, etc. So in many ways, it's as close as you could have the original car, but the wood and all this stuff burnt up.
You told me it's a wood frame and wood wheels, which is important to know.
Yeah, wood frame, wood wheels. The frame is made of oak, and that's fine. The wheels are birch. That's all well and good, except the wheels, depending on the climate, dry up on you. So if you're like I raced it at Laguna Seca, I've raced it in England at Goodwood, Essen Motor Show in Germany, you try to drift something like this at all, the wheel's going to collapse on you.
And you're going to put this out on the race course today.
Yep.
How are the wheels?
The wheels are fine. I think this winter we're going to have some new ones made, but we did with Brian, who puts this on, a few years ago, we did a run from Wilshire Boulevard, the AAA, up to the Tejon Ranch, and did not go over the mountains. We went through the ranch. First time in 35 years, there's 20 cars, all pre-1920. We went all the way over to Bakersfield and ran these. Then from there, stayed overnight, and then ran up to Visalia to a little track and raced up there.
So this is not like a trailer queen kind of sit in the garage kind of car.
I've got a lot of cars, and I believe you got to drive them. If I'm fortunate enough to have them, let people see them, but get them out and drive them. So this gets driven a lot. I take it on tours. I'll drive it 150 miles a day.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful specimen, a lovely race car. No seat belts, right?
They're under here, but they make you wear them when you're on the track.
As they should.
As they should. But what they do is we have them on Velcro. As soon as you get on the track, you flip it off.
Oh, don't tell anyone this.
Well, I'm telling you because one of the fellas that we know stayed with a car and went upside down. There's no protection, no robot. I've raced Alfa Romeos with full cages. Something like this, you want to be thrown out.
Well, I hope you're not thrown out today. But I want to, hey, thank you. Dick DeLuna from Woodside.
Good, thank you.
All right.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'm here with Dennis Losher, who lives in, I kid you not, Twainhart, and this is one of his many Formula One cars. Tell me about this car.
This is a 1974 Shadow DN3 F1 car, and it was driven by Tom Price and sometimes by Jean-Pierre Jerier, the other Shadow team driver in '74. But its car primary success was with Tom Price, so we restored it to his livery.
And Formula One is primarily European race circuit, and so this car competed in Italy and France and such. How did it do?
Its debut was Monaco. This is chassis 4A, and so they got to the fourth chassis to build by the time Monaco showed up, and it was there as a spare. It later ran the French and the Belgium and the Italian Grand Prix, and as I mentioned, the Italian Grand Prix was its best finish with Price. He finished 10th. Primary, though, was the spare between the two drivers, and the only U.S. race at that time was the Watkins Glen. U.S. Grand Prix. This was pre-Long Beach era, so this car was campaigned the year before Long Beach started.
Big American flag on the, is this like the air scoop? Is this what you call this gigantic thing?
Yeah, it's an air box, they call it.
Air box.
And this is the era of the high air box. After 1975, they were banned, and they couldn't have it anymore. I guess they had issues with them being up so tall, but it's a favorite era of a lot of folks of the 70 F1 years is when they had the high air boxes between 1972 and 3 all the way up to they banned them in 70 at the end of 75.
So it was an American race team?
Yeah, it was Don Nichols founded this team. He started in Can-Am. UOP said, hey, we want to go F1 to get our unleaded fuel sponsorship, or word out across the world. And so we'll sponsor you for an F1 team as well. And he got Tony Southgate, which was a well-known Formula One designer. He became available, hired him to design the car and the bodywork. And they were built in Northampton. That's where the team was located, but it was always a U.S. team.
Tell me about the engine. American-made engine?
Well, it's a Cosworth DFE. So it says Ford on it because Ford paid the bill to have Cosworth developed the engine, and it ended up being the most successful F1 engine of all time. I think it came out in '67, and it was still running races all the way until I think 1980. Right, a tremendously long life for an F1 engine. So back in those days, as Ferrari would call it, the garagistas, the people that build their cars in their garages, they would make a tub, make a body, buy a Cosworth, buy a Hewland gearbox, get a driver, go F1 racing. You could do it.
You can't do that now.
You can't do that now, but back then you could do that. And so that Cosworth became the key asset for any F1 team that didn't build their own engine like Ferrari or BRM.
Well, it's a beautiful example, Dennis. It's sleek and black and pretty, and I bet it goes fast. Have you ridden on it?
No, this one, we just finished the restoration early this year. It's finally a runner. It's taken me 14 years to get it from a basket case to this. It's a long process. The engines are expensive. And so we'll take it out one of these days and do a track day or something and have a good time.
Excellent. Thank you, Dennis, and good luck at the Concours.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm here with Charles Test from Minneapolis, and he's here with the number 19 1911 National. And the story of this car, tell me, Charles, starts with your great-grandfather.
My great-grandfather helped found National in 1900, and he died in 1910, unfortunately. But it was part of the family history, and I'm the family historian, so I went after the information.
National was a company that built cars,
yes,
and then at some point owned the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Well, not quite.
All right, well, fill me in.
Well, National started in 1900 through 1923-24, and my grandfather was very good friends with Arthur Newby, who did help found the Speedway.
So I was close.
Very close. My father used to say that my great-grandfather could have invested in the Speedway, but he was too conservative.
But once we have the International Speedway, we have to have the 500, and this car competed in the 500.
Not this particular one, but we do have the 20 car, the 1911 National 20 car that did.
And this car is not competed in the Indianapolis 500.
This is the Speedway Roadster. This is the street model of that race car.
Oh, I see.
So you could, you could buy a National. It was almost a race car right off the showroom floor.
Yeah. You can't do that anymore.
No,
not exactly.
Not anymore.
Are you going to take it out on the racetrack today?
It'll be out today, yes.
Yeah, and you're driving?
I'll be driving the 6 car over here, the National 6 car.
I got you. That we can't quite see yet, but we'll see it out on the track.
Yeah.
And is it dangerous?
Well, I don't consider it dangerous.
Because someone from a modern day car to jump into one of these things wouldn't know what they were doing. There are fewer safety mechanisms. They go pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. They'll go 70, 80, 90 miles an hour.
And it's a dirt track, and you could be sliding around.
Well, we hope to be. That's more fun that way.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. So you came here all the way from Minneapolis. Had you heard of the Ironstone Concours?
Oh yeah, I've been here several times.
Oh, excellent. And you're going to come back next year with a different car?
I expect to. Yes, we'll be the ragtime racers will be back with cars.
Excellent.
And we're always restoring another one, so hopefully we'll be able to debut a new car next year.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I thank you very much. Charles Test, ladies and gentlemen, 1911 National.
Thank you.
It's another one in the books. This is number 26, and I can't believe it's already here. And every year I say best ever, and I say it again. We have some incredible cars, and we have, thank heavens, beautiful weather, a little bit on the hot side, but better than the 1.5 inches of rain we had the other day. So we'll take it. And thank you all for participating. Thank you to Chris Bach for doing a wonderful, wonderful job putting this show together. Let's give Chris a big hand. And it is my privilege to start the awards ceremony by asking Abby Carter to come up and lead our the Pledge of Allegiance. Abby?
Hey, I am Abby Carter with the Calaveras FFA chapter. Can I please have everyone remove their caps for the Pledge of Allegiance? Salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. And singing the national anthem, Katie Brixby.
For you? Can I take the microphone?
You want, yes. There you go, sweetie.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you so much.
But I expect that out of a horseback rider.
Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful. I have a big lump in my throat. All right, 4-H pledge, Kyra Danicourt. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Do I just speak in here?
Yeah.
As a true 4-H'er, I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, my health to better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Yay, thank you. Thank you, Kyra. And the FFA Creed, Afton Phillips.
Hi. Do I just start? Yeah, okay.
Okay. The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists, in the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us through the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm, or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits, is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life, and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly, with as much knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Beautiful job. Thank you. All right, I want to thank everybody for all our participants for the impromptu speaking contest. We have 3 winners. First, for the junior division, Kahan Dagomovich. Can Kahan come up? Congratulations.
Thank you.
You did a great job. Thank you very much. All right. Next, for the intermediate division, we have Alicia Soldad, I guess. Winner in the intermediate division. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good. Job well done.
Do I go now?
Thank you. And finally, in the senior division, Anastasia Sharp. Are you here? Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Job well done.
Thank you.
And our congratulations to all that participated. This is always a great experience for everybody, and particularly to the winners. And now I think that what you're all waiting for, the awarding of the places for the various divisions for the car show. Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing.
Okay, well, then I'm out of here.
We'll get to go sit for a bit. Thank you, Gail. She is truly the hostess of this event and makes it all work. If we could start the cars moving toward the stage, oh, intrepid field crew. This first award is the FFA Future Farmers of America Award, chosen by a number of the students today from the cars on the field. And would the first car come forward? And we have the student's choice, a 1973 Corvette Coupe, which belongs to Kim and Rachel Nelson from Shingle Springs, California. This is the car that captured the hearts of the FFA students on the field. By the way, each of these lucky recipients gets a bag of homemade cookies and goodies, and all prepared by our young folks today. So, and our second award, chosen by young 4-H students, is the 4-H award, which goes to a 1964 and a half Mustang Convertible belonging to Richard M. Hojas from El Dorado Hills, California. How appropriate, a red convertible. So. All right, now as we move into our class awards, our first class is our antique group, and the winning car is a 1911 Interstate Bulldog 40 horsepower toy tonneau, owned by Scott Henningsen from Salinas, California. Interstate was a low production, very high quality car. It's rare that you would see one. And next in our lineup from Class B, our vintage cars. The winner is a 1931 Ford Model A Sport Coupe, belonging to Paul Shin from Valley Springs, California. And next in the category for American and European Classics Open coach work, the winner is a 1934 Auburn V12 Model 1250 convertible sedan, brought to us by Thomas Craig from Prather, California. Very rare car, 12 cylinders. And next in our American and European Classics closed is a 1929 Cadillac Model 341B sedan, Rod and Sidney Dahlgren from Napa, California. Beautiful, elegant coachwork for Cadillac in 1929. And next in our Pierce Arrow category, a 1933 Pierce Arrow V12, Convertible sedan with coachwork by Lebaron, brought to us by Bob Jacobson of Los Altos, California. Another 12-cylinder car, very expensive, custom coachwork, a truly rare car to grace the stage here at Ironstone. And next in our Packard category, a 1934 Packard Model 1107 V12 convertible Victoria with coachwork by Dietrich. The Academy of Art University Automobile Collection from San Francisco, California brings that car to us. Next, we are featuring the 100th anniversary of Lincoln as a company owned by Ford, and winning our Lincoln class is a 1956 Continental Mark II convertible owned by Blake Weston of Columbia, California. Low production car, the Mark II was built 2 years only, 1956 and 1957. And next in our cars with wooden coachwork, woodies if you will, a 1932 Ford Model B150 station wagon, Michael and Sarah King from Minden, Nevada. Beautiful example, and I might add that many moons ago this car was with us at Ironstone and won Best of Show. So it obviously hasn't lost its luster. This year we featured cars with coachwork by the Durham Company in Rosemont, Pennsylvania. We had a nice trio of cars, and the winner is a 1948 Dodge Model D24 Durham Coupe, which comes from the Ram's Head collection in Lincoln, California. Very, very rare, one-of-a-kind car. Durham was one of the oldest coach builders in the country, moving from carriages to automobiles. All right, next, here's some fun. This is a unrestored car. Our unrestored class, a 1909 Maxwell Model LD Roadster, Vic Grove from Tulare, California. This car has been in Vic's family since the day it was delivered new. It's a one-owner car. It was off the road for 100 years. And about a week ago, after tons and tons of work, Vic managed to get this car running for the first time in 100 years. And here it is on our stage, under its own power, thanks to Vic's work. He did put new tires on it. In our later preservation cars, the winner is a 1961 Chrysler Newport sedan belonging to Mark Migliazzo from Atwater, California. In the era of the tail fins. And next, one of the larger cars in the Concours this year in our mini and micro car class. We have a 1957 BMW Isetta Model 300. Ron and Mark Davis from Angels Camp, California. What fun these cars are. Single door opens to the front. borrows some motorcycle technology for the engine, I believe, and away it goes. And American production cars built between 1946 and 1954. Our winner is a 1953 Desoto Fire Dome convertible, brought to us by David Green from Alameda, California. Desoto is a lost mark, but made its mark very well with this 1953 model. And in our category from 1955 through 1961 American production, the winner is a 1957 Pontiac Star Chief two-door hardtop, brought to us by Pete Bultice from Ripon, California. Or is it Ripon? I've been told both ways. Anyway, beautiful Pontiac Star Chief. And in the category for American production 1962 through 1973, a 1965 Pontiac Grand Prix hardtop, brought to us by Alan McCrary from Vacaville, California. Beautiful Pontiac, again a lost mark at this point in automotive history, but what a beautiful example. And in our category for AMC cars, the winner is a 1969 AMC AMX Big Bad Green Coupe, brought to us by John Hull from Discovery Bay, California. This was American Motors' foray into building a pony car hot rod, if you will, and these cars were very well accepted and now very rare to find. In the American muscle car class, we have a 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 Coupe. Jamie Timms from El Dorado Hills brings that car to us. A beautiful, beautiful example. We had a wonderful group of 16 Corvettes this year. Winning our Corvette category is a 1963 Chevrolet Corvette convertible, brought to us by Alan Avery from Stockton, California. Beautiful example of America's sports car. And next in our Corvair category, Chevrolet's answer to the economy car craze, we have a 1965 Chevrolet Corvair Corsa convertible, brought to us by Aaron Sickard from Folsom, California. Beautiful second generation body style Corvair. And moving on to the Ford Mustang category. Winning that category this year is a 1965 Ford Mustang GT Fastback, owned by Dale Hart from Oakland, California. Longtime entrant in this show with many cars. Beautiful example of the Ford Mustang. And next, in our category for Japanese and British cars built through 1973, this year's winner is a 1973 Datsun 240Z Coupe, brought to us by Gary Nakashima from Woodbridge, California. Beautiful classic 240Z. And in our Mercedes-Benz category this year, the winner is a 1959 Mercedes-Benz 190 SL Roadster, Michael Thoben from Groveland, California. Beautiful example of the 190 SL. And in our Jaguar category, this year's winner is a 1955 Jaguar XK140 convertible, drop-head convertible coupe, if you will, Craig Marazzo from Suisun City, California. And in our category for MG automobiles, the first real successful British sports car introduced into this country after the war, a 1968 MGB convertible, Carl and Kelly Gwynn from Elk Grove, California. And in our category for Porsche automobiles, we have a 1967 Porsche 911 Coupe. Don Wrightson from Elk Grove, California is the proud owner of this car. And finishing out the British fleet in our Austin Healey automobile category, the winner is a 1956 Austin Healey 100M Roadster, brought to us by Ron Strong from Santa Clara, California. And moving on to our category for Borgward, unusual German-built car. Our winner is a 1960 Borgward Isabella Coupe, brought to us by Ron Engel, and listen to this, from Minnetrista, Minnesota. And the car was driven across country to come to the Ironstone Concours, and it's not the first time he's done it. So our hands off to our long distance winner as well as our class winner, to Ron Engel from Minnetrista, Minnesota. And from the wonderful selection of Ford Thunderbirds that we had this year, the winner in that class is a 1955 Ford Thunderbird, brought to us by Augie and Jill Sciotto from Atwater, California. Beautiful example. These wonderful Thunderbirds have been very supportive to the Ironstone Concours with a nice group each year. And in our commercial category, what fun. This is a 1936 GMC Model R14 pickup, brought to us by Michael J. Grieva from Greenfield, California. Beautiful early GMC pickup.
For the trailer, we'll just bring him his trophy.
Yeah, yeah. And in our motorcycle category, the winner is a 1934 Benelli Model 500 Sport Racer Grand Prix, Pat Finney from Carmel, California. What a beautiful bike. Our next category, we do not bring the vehicle over the ramp because the trailers would have a little time negotiating our pathway. But the winner this year in the trailers, Michael and Aidan Hayworth with a 1956 Airstream. We will bring you your trophy. All right, De Tomaso. Wonderful collection of De Tomaso this year. A 1969 De Tomaso Mangusta, Greg Taylor from Burlingame, California. Really rare and unusual car. Now, if you need the back 40 plowed, in our engine and tractor category, the winner is a 1934 John Deere Model 34A tractor, Jimmy and Lisa Lamack from San Jose, California. And you said, watch this man start this tractor. It's just poetry in motion. What fun. I think it's the first tractor we've had on this stage. Hopefully not the last.
You want me to do this one or not?
Sure.
I'm going to do it.
Nope. You go right in. Here's Wayne Craig.
Thank you, Chris. As the race car chairman, each year we select a race car that exhibits the great spirit of the automotive world, the racing world, and the rally world. And we're very, very proud. This was in honor of Martin Swig, the founder of the California Melee and a former board member of Ironstone. This year, we're very proud to welcome and award Mark Miller for his Jaguar 1950 XK120 that was the actual Pebble Beach road-winning car in 1950 with race car driver Phil Hill. Very significant car. Congratulations, Mark, on the Martin Swig Award. Come on down.
Fabulous car with a fabulous history. If we could please page Lynn James to his 1935 Lincoln. Pronto, please. Lynn James to your 1935 Lincoln LeBaron Coupe. Now, our next award is a really fun car. This is our Ironstone Sponsors Award. It's given to honor the sponsors who make this event such a success. And the car chosen this year to receive that is a one-of-a-kind we think it is. It's coming. A one-of-a-kind 1926 Lincoln Coaching Broome. This was built by the Judkins Body Company. It was pretty much a promotional item. It's been ascribed to various Western stars and starlets, but a fabulous car with a fabulous history brought to us by the National Auto Museum in Reno, Nevada. It's been there for years. It was restored there years ago and looks absolutely as new as it did the day the restoration was finished. Just a fabulous, fabulous car. Built to emulate a stagecoach or various coaches of the types in the era, and we appreciate the National Automobile Museum sharing that with us.
Is that his car?
Yeah. Mr. James has been found. And next, you know, the members of the Ironstone Foundation Board like to pick a vehicle and an owner that has contributed so much to our event through the years. And the winner of the Foundation Award this year is a 1942 Ford GPW Combat Jeep. And for those of you that don't know, Ford commenced to build Jeeps to enhance production, to assist Willys in turning out these vehicles. And Paul Tourné from Murphy's, California is an eminent collector of wartime Jeeps, and he's brought this incredible example to us, decked out with all of the appropriate things of the era. And Paul's been a supporter of this show literally since the day it began, and we felt it appropriate to honor this vehicle which honors our country and this man who has brought it to us. Well, here he is again. There was no question that the most interesting and best unrestored car on the field today had to be Vic Grove's 1909 Maxwell. Again, this car has been in his family since the day it was delivered new. It was sitting in a barn for 100 years, and it finally passed down to Vic, and he applied his mechanical expertise to unsticking everything that was stuck and derusting everything that was rusted, and got the car running. It ran for the first time in 100 years about a week ago, and here it is now with its new tires, making its second round around the Ironstone Amphitheater. And Vic, we really appreciate the history of this car and your perseverance to get it back on the road. So congratulations. All right, as we move toward the climax, the car chosen as the most elegant closed coachwork car on the field today is a 1935 Lincoln Model K V12 Coupe by Lebaron. Individual coachwork car brought to us by Lynn James from Tracy, California. It's a beautiful example of what Lincoln was doing with elegant custom coachwork in the 1930s. When Henry Ford was convinced to buy the Lincoln Motor Company in 1922, he handed over control to his son Edsel, and Edsel decided to build the Lincoln brand by developing individual custom coachwork, working with the major bodybuilders of the time, of which LeBaron was one of his favorite. And this is just a perfect example of a car that helped to build the Lincoln Motor Company. So thank you very much, Lynn. A beautiful car. Well, it had a little rattle. Now, we have a car which qualified to be named as the most elegant open car on the field today, and it is a 1923 Hispano Suiza, a model HB Million Guillet Touring. It was brought to us by Bill Cattell from Capitola, California. Beautiful car, very high quality, the equivalent of a Rolls-Royce, a European winner of a car, which is driving Mr. Cattell crazy at the moment because it won't come up here. So we will skip that award and deliver the trophy to him and thank him for bringing the car to Murphy's, where we all had a chance to see it. So now we're going to move to the final, the best of show from the 318 vehicles on the field today. Best of show 2022 is a 1933 Pierce Arrow V12 convertible sedan with coachwork by Lebaron, brought to us by Robert Jacobson of Los Altos, California. Pierce Arrow is one of the highest quality cars built in the United States in the teens, 20s, and 30s, and this represents the epitome of their style and elegance in 1933, powered by a beautiful V12 engine and this lovely coachwork, which has been so beautifully presented and brought today. Bob Jacobson from Los Altos, California. Congratulations. And we'll take him over and take our annual photos of the Best of Show car. So thank you one and all. Every car here is a winner, and we'll look forward to seeing you all back here next year on, I believe, September 23rd, 2023. Thank you very, very much.